Hello and welcome everyone. We're really excited to have everyone here today for our weekly OCI deep dive. For those of you who are new to our events, we're hosted on Cloud Customer Connect, our Oracle community forums for end users. I'll share resources in the chat throughout the presentation that take you to the CCC forums. And we invite you to create a free account, join in discussions, and look for upcoming events on all kinds of topics. I'm Maria Philip, Product Marketing Manager with the OCI Go-to-Market team. And today we're joined by presenter Kamal Narayan, Senior Director of Product Management for Oracle Identity and Access Management, and he'll take you through the presentation. We also have Abhishek Juneja, Senior Principal Product Manager for Oracle Identity and Access Management, and he will handle demo as well as Q&A for this webinar. Feel free to raise any questions in the Q&A box at any time during the webinar. The topic of today's webinar is Oracle Access Governance product updates, where we'll cover the latest advancements in Oracle Access Governance Cloud Service. In this session, the presenters will showcase our new integrations with Microsoft Azure Active Directory, Oracle Fusion Applications, NetSuite, flat file systems, and more, providing you with a comprehensive control over your organization's access permissions. This is enough for me for now, so Kamal, please go ahead and take it away. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. So as Maria mentioned, Abhishek and I would be covering about the Access Governance Service. So it has multiple updates. So the most recent updates has been in both October and November. So we'll try to cover and provide the overview of all the capabilities. So we're not going to limit ourselves only to these. We'll also try to recap as to what access governance is and which areas has been updated in the context of the recent updates. So that's a plan for today's action. So for someone who's joining or hearing access governance for the first time, it should be still okay to understand through this session. So let me begin with access governance challenges. It's often said that all the challenges that IT team are related to security, and most of the problems in security are related to governance. So that's where the challenges that the governance team faces are absolutely critical. So we captured some of the challenges that organizations are facing, and uh, I'm going to just talk about some of them. Like, for example, the primary challenge is to enforce the principle of least privilege so that there are no challenges when it comes to managing the credentials. So IT teams also face a lot of challenges governing applications because they are spread across multiple environments. When they have to roll out the governance processes, it's too complex. So the skill required to manage these processes are very, very complex, which also results in significant budget, and there are no IT teams which has unlimited budget. Everyone has just limited budget. When it comes to governance processes, many times the business units, the organization needs are that we need it yesterday kind of challenge. And when we look at all these, it could be the dynamic. There is too much of agility, changes happening on IAM on every day-to-day basis. And finally, the dependency on IT. So there is like uh, many times governance processes requires developers to be engaged, which becomes an even more complex challenge to address. So these are some of the challenges that the governance team has. I know that there are several other challenges, but we had to limit only some to the top challenges. So these are the challenges that we have heard. Oracle has been addressing these challenges for a long time. We've been leader in the identity and access management for over 2 decades, and we continue to invest on this space. We have started several solutions in this area. We have grown organically and inorganically. So our solutions has been comprehensive. So whether it's on the enterprise stack or on the cloud stack, access governance was initially released in 2022, and that was the most recent addition to our portfolio. So access governance is fitting well into the identity and access management stack. So we will look at what access governance provides and how we improved it in the recent updates. So, quick recap or the architecture of access governance. Access governance at the core, at the heart of it, is an identity governance and administration offering, which manages identities, accesses, permissions, policies, and campaigns, reviews. So, how it does all this is by discovering identities, by discovering policies, permissions, monitoring has to who has access to what, and analyzing them so that it can raise concerns on over provisioned access and other kind of scenarios, so that organizations can mitigate those scenarios, and as part of it they can prove compliance as well. Now access governance can do all these across cloud services, on-premise applications, SaaS applications, edge IoT, or open source, or COTS solutions, doesn't matter. Oracle Access Governance is a solution. It's an OCI native service that provides governance that's always on. Oracle Access Governance, as I said earlier, it was initially released in 2022, mid of 2022, where we added some capabilities. But since then, we've had several updates. We've been working very closely with several customers, helping them uptake this service, and their feedback has been absorbed. And that's where you see that there are bug fixes, there are minor releases which include enhancements, bug fixes, and there's major releases where we add new capabilities, new frameworks. So this is an ongoing activity. So the most recent update was in October, November, where we added features around to improve access control around unmatched accounts, so that you can manage orphan accounts, rogue accounts in various systems. We added a new timeline based micro certifications. On the OCI, we added the group membership reviews. There have been new integrations that Maria called out, and we'll see some of them today. We also added capabilities for the Active Directory group management and a few more capabilities as part of today's session. So first, I'll walk through the slides as to what access governance is, how which areas has been addressed, and then Abhishek will be providing a demonstration of most of these capabilities. So, what is access governance? Access governance is a OCI cloud native service that provides governance and identity governance and administration. So the challenges it solves are providing visibility into enterprise-wide access. So this is required so that organizations know who has access to what, so that they can ensure that they can enforce the principle of least privilege. Access governance provides analytics driven identity reviews, policy reviews, and micro certifications. So these are critical from compliance point of view, and also because there are many times people change their jobs, and sometimes a lot of these are not automated where it's policies or roles based. So that's where analytics helps improve the access reviews. Analytics helps users to take decisions with high fidelity. Access governance provide robust access controls because one size does not fit all. Different kinds of permissions require different robust access controls, and that's exactly what access governance provides. So, to implement business processes, there is a need for businesses to do it rather than depending on developers, because that could be time consuming and it's not very easy to change. So, that's where the codeless business processes help organizations. And finally, governance will be effective only if all the applications services are governed across the environments. So we provide low code access governance across whether it's infrastructure, applications, or services. So let's see each one of them in depth, and I'll also call out as to how we have updated in the recent past. So the first capability is around who has access to what. So we solve this problem by providing intuitive dashboards and conversation style user experience. So where we provide top down and a bottom up. Top down for individual users, for managers, so that they can see which user has access to what resources in the organizations. So end users will get to know what access they have, and managers can see their own access as well as their team's accesses. But for business owners, IT administrators, CISOs, they need to see for the entire organization by both top down, where they can begin with users and see what accesses they have, as well as a bottom up where they can begin with a resource. It could be a compute resource, it could be an Active Directory group, and see who has access to that resource and how were the access granted to them. So this ensures that there is visibility. So in the recent past, we've been improving this user experience with respect to who has access to what, and some of the performance related updates has been made, so that whether you're a small enterprise, a medium enterprise, a large enterprise, or very large enterprise, it doesn't matter. You get the same kind of experience across all environments. So that's what we have achieved in the most recent release. The next capabilities are around access reviews. So we solve the problems of access reviews through AI and ML driven prescriptive analytics. So let's see the various kinds of access reviews. So access governance provides capabilities so that administrators can set up ad hoc campaigns, so where they can depending on a set of users, set of applications, they could select various criteria and say that I want to create a campaign. So when they create a campaign, access governance provides intelligence into what is the cost of that, so that yeah, the administrators know what's happening with that access governance, so they can track that certification campaign as part of its life cycle. They can repeat the same thing on a periodic basis, so that, like if they want to do it on a monthly basis, on a quarterly, half yearly, so they can set the frequency, so that it gets repeated on a regular basis. So these are the access reviews. But where the industry is heading is, while the regular certifications are required from a compliance or organization process point of view, there are challenges with where it results, frequent certifications results in certification fatigue and rubber stamping problems. So that's where micro certifications are introduced as part of access governance, where you could only say that the users who are affected will have to go through a certification process. For example, in the previous releases we had event based, where it was like if when a user changes a team, a cost center, department, location, then they can be forced to go through a certification cycle. So now we have added a new capability called as timeline based micro certification. Say, for example, a user's anniversary is going to reach in the next week, they can trigger a it automatically triggers a certification. So this kind of ensures that it's not for all the employees in the organizations, but rather these are micro certifications which are continuously running, but on a specific day, only the affected users will be reviewed. So this micro certifications will reduce the load on the people, as well as it improves the efficiency of the certifications. So, in all these scenarios, we ensure that technology comes to the aid of the approvers, where we provide deep analytics and makes it easy for person to approve or deny. So, whether it's a blast radius or peer analysis, so we provide those analytics so that the approvers can take decisions with high fidelity. So these approvers they require, in some cases, the certifications require one level, some of them require multiple levels. So that's where the number of levels, what has to be done, all this can be done by the business users without writing a single line of codes. So we include the out of the box workflows, which is just wizard based and makes it very easy to customize the workflows. So the differentiator of access governance is around the prescriptive analytics. While most vendors in this space fall short, where they focus on descriptive or diagnostic, which provides information about what happened, like for example, a message or a log file through diagnostics, but we go beyond the discovery and predictive. So where we say, what should the user do? Why should a user, whether a user should approve or deny, and why? That level of context is provided, which makes it easy for users to take actions on the reviews with this prescriptive analytics. So the user experience, it's whether it's the conversation style with analytics. So that's where the bang for the buck is. So let's move to the next one, which is around access control. As I said, one size does not fit all. There are organizations who would want to go with self-service. There are organizations who would want to go with roles. There are organizations who might want to define policies based on attributes. So that's where access governance comes in handy. So there are various systems, various permissions across the organizations, and there are various users, devices, and other kinds of entities. So, where access governance comes in is to ensure that users, the application owners, can create access bundles by grouping one or more permissions into the access bundle. Now, the identities can request these access bundle, and it automatically gets provisioned if it's approved based on the approval type. So then the users will have access to those permissions, those applications. That's through request and approval process. But there might be organizations who might want to request for roles, because roles could be based on multiple access bundles across various applications. So now when they request for a role, they automatically get access to multiple access bundles. So whether it's a self-service or self-service and role-based access control, RBAC, that can be achieved with access governance. We take it to the next level, where we allow the business units to create various kinds of identity collections. So the identity collections are a group of users which are defined by business units. Let's say, like somebody in finance needs access to some applications. But these, so not every user might be in the finance. There might be some users who might be part of other teams who might need access. So that's where this is attribute based. So where you could have a set up a filter that all employees of finance, as well as some employees of HR, some employees of marketing, needs to be part of this identity collection. Now you could include and exclude some of the users from these identity collections. So once these ABAC based identity collections are created, your organizations could create policies wherein the various identity collections either get access to roles or access bundles. So that's the level of capability we provide with access governance, so that whether it's roles, attributes, policies can be leveraged for all access control models. The most recent update to this model is that you could leverage this model wherein you could create groups in Active Directory using identity collections. So now, if you want to create a group in Active Directory, you need not go to Active Directory. Rather, it can be done from access governance. You can manage groups, add, modify, delete through identity collections. So that's the beauty. So at one place, you get to manage the applications as well. Workflows are very critical as part of business processes. So, uh, as I said, we have a codeless, or there is no code required. It's a wizard based, where anyone can just create one stage or multiple stages, either in serial or in parallel. It becomes very easy to route. So in the previous, we had supported beneficiary manager, management chain, identity collection for quorum approvals. All these capabilities were supported, but now we have added support for beneficiary or management chain. The first level can be assigned to the user to say, do you need access to it? Or so that user also is engaged as part of the approval process. Or it could be a custom user or an owner, application owner, or various kinds of owners. So these are out of the box supported. And we also provide the flexibility to manage whether it has to be approved, like closed loop remediation at individual stages, or if it has to wait till the end of all the stages. So this can be configured as well. At any point of time, the closed loop remediation can get started. So the workflows also support various kinds of escalations. It supports notifications, reminders, so that people do not forget around it. So now we have a single workflow for both access reviews as well as request mechanism, so which makes it comprehensive and very easy to design. So that's the workflow, and a lot of capabilities have gone in the most recent updates. So now moving on to identity orchestration. So it's imperative to manage all kinds of applications with a similar kind of experience, whether they are running on premise or in the cloud. So that's exactly what access governance provides. So access governance supports multiple authoritative systems. So we have also added recently the flat file, because many times the organizations might not want to integrate their HCM directly with the governance system. Rather, they would want to take a feed of those users and provide it to a governance system. So we support those use cases. We support direct as well, and now through flat file as well. So once the users are fetched from various authoritative sources, they could be provisioned to various applications. It could also be reconciled to ensure that there are no challenges. So now, as part of reconciliation, we handle accounts. If they are orphaned accounts or rogue accounts, they can be managed as well. So we also support the outbound transformation rules, like where if you want to create some attributes on the target side, which are based on various expressions, various for like first name plus last name, or the first last name first character and the remaining first name should be appended to create an email address. So all those transformations can be achieved in the downstream applications using the outbound transformation rules. So this is continuously evolved, and we will make it easy for organizations to manage the identity provisioning and reconciliation. So in this release, we have added several. As I said, flat file was added as an authoritative system, but flat file could also be done for provisioning as well. On the right hand side, you can see the various systems that we support today out of the box, but the left hand side provides information that was introduced in the last couple of weeks, where we support some systems as authoritative, some systems as target. So this will be an ongoing activity, which makes it very easy, and depending on the licensing, you would be able to use appropriate governance for applications. I'll come to the licensing and pricing at the end of the session. So finally, the cloud identity governance. So for example, if you want to govern access governance for OCI, you could use a single instance of access governance to govern multiple instances of OCI. So the across various regions doesn't matter, so that you can figure out who has access to what across various tenancies, various regions, and you could create campaigns. So in the recent release, we not only support app roles, but also OCI group memberships. So we'll see the demonstration of it as well today. You can use access governance for OCI to view and review the OCI policies in a much easier way. And any kind of reviews, remediation taken will be fulfilled across various tenancies. So this capability ensures that you get visibility across cross cloud as well as cloud and enterprise applications can be just helps with understanding who has access to what, but also to get better capabilities. So this is the couple of features that we have added as part of access governance in the recent past. So now let me hand it off to Abhishek, who's going to do demonstration of various capabilities, including the orphaned accounts management, rogue accounts management through unmatched accounts, and various other capabilities. So with that, let me pass it to Abhishek.
Yeah, thanks, Kamal. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on the location you are. Hope you can see my screen. So yeah, this is the dashboard of the access governance. Very clean, intuitive UI, conversational based, where each tile over here carries some analytics, carries some information that is relevant to the logged in user to understand and perform the required operations. Well, Oracle Access Governance provides multiple dashboards over here based on the persona you have logged in with. You can simply go to that dashboard and perform the operations. So the persona I have logged in with currently is administrator of this service, who is also the campaign administrator and the administrator to do the access control operations. Moving to the integrations part first. So when it comes to when we go to the service administration, we see some tiles over here, some for first one for the integrations and other for the unmatched accounts and the identity attributes management. So as we looked into the presentation also, Access Governance now provides a handful of integrations, both for Oracle workloads and for non-Oracle workloads. When it comes to Oracle workloads, it provides for HCMs like FAHCM, EBIS, NetSuite, the applications like Eloqua, NetSuite, directories like OUD, OID. And for non-Oracle workloads, there is Azure, Microsoft Active Directory, and the databases from Microsoft, SQL, and so on. So, so the very recent entry into it is flat file, FA, and the other Eloqua NetSuite applications. Well, for this demonstration, we have already integrated one flat file integration. Let's look into the details that how easy it is to set it up and make it running. So what all is required over here is a bucket where the application owner can keep the identity and access data, and the privileges required to access this bucket, this in OCI Cloud, is simply the user API credentials, API key credentials of a user who has managed privileges over this bucket, based on which Access Governance connects to that bucket and creates the structure for this particular application. So Rubik's Cube is this application that I have integrated with, and then it creates a file structure here. Inbox, where the app owner can provide the identity, permissions, and accounts data. Similarly, Outbox is the operations, the provisioning operations that happen into Access Governance, or the remediation operations that happen over there to be propagated into the application. And it also provides sample file schema files for required for the flat file integration. So this integration is on the same line, similar lines. When we talk about the ease to integrate, the low code part or no code part to integrate, as we have for the other integrations like OCI, where also just the service user credentials are required to get the identity and access data, or for Azure and other applications. Well, a new entry into the feature set is outbound data transformation rules, whereas the flat file integration that I have done is for the user provisioning operations that Access Governance is managing. So Access Governance for this application is also providing the outbound data transformation rules, that which attribute in the flat file to be mapped to which attribute in the Access Governance. And as we can see, it's so easy to set up the complex rules also. It is easy to understand, quick to set up rules, and then the validate operation, just to validate that what all attributes we have used over here are correct or not. So this is quite easy integration to set up, and quite quick transformation rules that can be set up for the integrations. Now, as my system over here is, as I mentioned, is the managed system Rubik's Cube, where Access Governance is managing the user provisioning operations. So as part of the reconciliation, the data load, some accounts have been onboarded, and Access Governance has identified over here some of the unmatched accounts. Now, these accounts can be orphan accounts, rogue accounts, or the service accounts, which are kind of headless accounts in nature. So Access Governance provides the functionality to mark the ownership for these headless accounts. So, and it also provides insight about these, that why these accounts are marked as orphan or unmatched accounts. Well, were there multiple matches for this particular account or no match? So let's take an example of this multi-match. So if we go further into it, the system identifies that there are two users with the same name, Aaron Simons, However, some of the attributes are different. That's why there are two identities to which this account can be mapped. So now the administrator or the application owner can simply come over here and match the identities to this account. If this account is not from these two identities, but from the other one can go to All Identities tab, look for that identity, and match it. So that was on the integrated or managed systems and unmatched accounts. So after all the accounts, the identity and access data has been synchronized in access governance. So access governance provides an enterprise-wide access view. That is the bottom-up view. That is by resources. The administration can look into what can be accessed by whom. So over here, these are some of the OCI resources. My system is also integrated with OCI, and it provides a detailed view of how users are getting access to this OCI resource and who these users are. And if administrator want to go further into each of this user profile, one can simply go into that what all cloud resources or other integrated system can this user access. Well, we were looking into the flat file that is created. So this is for the flat file integration that we have set up. We onboarded some accounts and those have been mapped to the identities in access governance. What all have been, which all accounts have been mapped to the users are listed over here, and along with which permissions they do have. With the out-of-the-box charts and graphs over here based on the different attributes of those users and identities, that organization, job code, or location based. Now, this user that I have logged in is also a user manager. There is a team reporting to this user. So this team manager can look into the access profile of his or her team, that what all applications, roles, permissions, cloud resources does his team members have access into. So we looked into the integrations part and then the access profile, that is who has access to what part. Now let's look into the other key functionality, which is the robust access control in access governance. So access governance provides no-code workflows. That is, the administrator can quickly build the workflows through some selections. So these are some of the templates that are available. These are user managers review or approval, custom user, application owner, or some identity collection review. So these templates are available. And if, let's say, I have selected a template, so now comes the details about the other configurations, about the notification, reminders, escalations, the duration of the access reviews, the default ones, and how this business manager would get the review task or the approval tasks. So after this is set, so see this easy it was to set up the workflow over here. If I want to set up a sequential workflow, that is the next level, or a parallel workflow, one can simply come over here and set it up. So I want another one, say the owner also to be review in addition to the manager. So this easy it is to build the campaigns, and now this is ready to be used. So with just few clicks, our workflow is ready. And after this workflow is ready, if we are looking for to set up the request-based access control, we can use this workflow for user requesting access bundles or roles. So we already have, we have this access bundle over here, which is a club of permissions. So we discussed about the Rubik's Cube application, a flat file one, which is exposing some of the permissions. And this access bundle is a group of two of such permissions, and it is requestable by which users and which workflow to be applicable when this is requested. So all this configurations can be set up as part of the access bundle. And to support the RBAC part further, so multiple such access bundles can be combined together to form a role or so. So over role also, one can decide which access bundles to be part of this role, and whether this is requestable, which user can request it, and which approval to be applicable for this. So for this one, I have marked this is not requestable because this is an admin view. I have marked admin themselves to be able to request for other users, or a policy to be applicable over these. So we looked into the RBAC part, that is access bundles and roles after workflows. Now let's look into the ABAC part. So as part of the attribute-based access control, access governance provides the identity collection setup. So I have a couple of these identity collection setups, say for managers in Italy, which I have set up based on the membership rule. Now, what is this membership rule? I have marked the rule by attributes such as location and job code. And it is quite easy to set those up. I have simply marked those attributes over here. If I want another attribute, I can use that also, or the other condition like and or can be set. So other than rule, the organization admin or the business owner building this group or the identity collection can mark identities by name or exclude identities by name whom they do not want to be part of the identity collection. Based on all that has been set up, the membership rule inclusion or exclusion of identities, one can simply preview which all users will be part of this identity collection. So this is how easy it is to set up the attribute-based identity collections. Now, after the access bundles, roles, and identity collections are defined, now comes the policy-based access reviews, how we can define it. So that also is, let's say we can have a manager policy here, and we created a group. We created an identity collection. We looked into a role. Let's try to associate those with each other. So last group that identity collection we looked into is managers in Italy, and a role we looked into is an admin role. And we have associated these together. So this is how easy it is to set up a policy-based access control along with the attribute-based and the role-based access control. And if some admin or a user want to request some access privileges for themselves or for others, one can look for requesting a new access. One can request an access bundle or the role. So those were the key components we looked into the access control workflows we started with, then access bundles and roles, constituting the RBAC, then identity collection, ABAC, and policies, fulfilling the PBAC part. Now let's look into the governance, that is the access reviews part or the campaigns. So access governance enable the security administrators and owners to define the campaigns or the certifications for not just the systems which are managed by access governance, like the flat file or the flat file we looked into in our demo. It also enables them to set up campaigns for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and also for the identity and access data, which is coming from the other identity management systems, which is Oracle Identity Governance in this case. So let's try to look into a new functionality that is added, which is for OCI group membership reviews. So and the system has some OCI tenancies integrated, one in EMEA, other two in US. So let's try to build one campaign for OCI group membership for one of those. So I have selected a tenancy. Now I'm going further to select the compartment and a domain because I want to review OCI group membership, which are part of this particular default domain. So as you can see, the numbers over here, the pie charts have got updated based on the tenancy and compartment and domain selections I have done. Now it's time to select some OCI groups. Well, I'm good with these admin groups, and I'm good to set the workflows. So we have set some workflows, which is available over here. So we can use this one, or we can use the other one based on the the admins we want to review. So let me select the one which is previously created. Now comes the chance to add colors to it. The name we want to give to a campaign, the frequency we want to set for it, one time, monthly, quarterly, half yearly, and so on. So we can do that, and this campaign is ready to be launched. In a similar way as we did for OCI groups, we can also set up campaigns for OCI policies. We can also set campaigns for the applications which are managed by access governance. Well, for this demonstration, I already have created some campaigns, so we can look through those. So this is so I have some identity task assigned, some review task assigned, both on identity side and for the access control. So for access control, we have OCI groups and policies, or even access governance identity collections and policies can be reviewed through this tab. So as I mentioned, we already have created some campaigns for OCI group membership review and some OCI policy reviews. So let's go into one of these. So structure is quite the same. Which group and policy is getting reviewed, whether it's a identity collection or a policy, due days, and then the campaigns. But over here lies the further details. What is the recommendation from access governance for this group or policy, and what are the insights based on which it is suggesting so? So let's select one such OCI group for which access governance is suggesting there are a bit more users, more than expected users, based on the privileges that this group is providing. So what are those privileges? Well, if we go over here, access governance provides a list of those which all policies are associated with this group, and which permissions and the permissions it is providing over the resources. So having said that, for say a group admin, it gives a consolidated view, which definitely cannot be identified with just looking at a group or looking at the policy statement. And on top of it, it also provides the membership review. Multiple tasks are not open for this, but just one review task where the administrator can take action for all the users together. Say I want to revoke one such user, but all others are good. I can make a decision over here and select to apply or cancel. And based on my decision, it gets automatically fulfilled or remediated into OCI based on the connectivity setup between the two. And so is for the policy statement also. If I look into one such policy, say this one, which is for review, well, it clearly shows this policy statement. This is the statement, but it does not give me any insight about looking at this, that which all users are a member of this group and which all resources are getting assigned to them. So when I go into the insights, I can simply get a view of it, that these are the users who are members of this group, and this is where they lie. Well, all are not in one domain. That can be a risk here, and which all resources are getting privileged or assigned through this policy. So based on this, one can quickly take an action for a policy statement also, whether to simply revoke it, or this is good, or if I want to modify it, one can simply go to OCI console and modify the policy statement. Another functionality which is added for on the access reviews front. So we had this event-based micro certifications for user attributes. That is, whenever the user attribute changes, a department changes, or any standard or custom attribute changes, to launch the access reviews for that very change. Now, a timeline-based events have also been added. That is, say for example, we want to create a campaign for a user whose joining date is so and so. Based on that, we want to set up the reviews. That can be done based on users' other attributes, such as the license date. If we want to review something, that also can be done, and how many days prior to that date we want that review task to be triggered. That setting can be done. And there is one more entry into the event-based access reviews. That is, previously it was all the privileges assigned to the users used to get the review task for all those used to get triggered. But now the administrator or the security owner can simply define that for which system I want the review task to be triggered. So, for example, I want it to be triggered only for the Rubik's Cube, the disconnected app we looked into. The users who have privileges over this needs to be reviewed. So I can select that, define the workflow for this, and create this event-based access review. So that was it on the demo front. We looked into the new integrations, unmatched accounts management. We looked into the workflows, the unified workflows, access reviews, additions for the OCI group membership reviews, and the timeline based event reviews. Okay, so that is it.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah, thanks, Abhishek. So just to summarize, access governance provides various benefits, including continuous compliance, and it can be automated to provide various kinds of access controls. We also saw the user experience. It doesn't require the end users to be trained, and it's cloud native. So Oracle will be maintaining this service for customers, and it's quick, it's easy to use. So for intelligence, it leverages AI and ML. So when it comes to scalability, that's never been a problem, and it's always available. So it's a fairly simple subscription model for access governance. So now let's look at quickly at the licensing and pricing of access governance. Access governance supports various kinds of entities. So if you want to turn off the governance for some of the VIP users like CEO, CTO, CISOs, it can be done. And even for some regular employees, if it has to be excluded, it can be done as well. So if there are disabled users which has to be governed, you can decide which users have to be governed. So it's all flexibility that access governance provide. Of course, for consumer users, we do provide a significantly discounted pricing. So if you mark users as consumers, they will not be able to log into access governance, but their accesses can be governed by workload identities. So now let's look at the licensing. There are three different kinds of licensing. The first one is AG for OCI. So access governance for OCI helps you to govern any number of OCI instances across various regions. So that's the first one. And then there is access governance for Oracle workloads. Any Oracle workloads that we have provided can be governed, including AG for OCI as part of access governance for Oracle workloads. Now, there might be organizations who might be using non-Oracle applications, and that's the final one, or the AG Premium, which includes Oracle workloads as well as non-Oracle workloads, which can be used to govern any kinds of applications. So these are the three licensing models we provide, but we provide ABAC based capabilities for licensing, where you can figure out which users has to be governed and which users can be excluded. For the excluded users, they are not metered, so you will not be billed for these users. So a quick view at the pricing. As we said, AG for OCI, for the first 100,000 users, it's just 10 cents per user. And for over 100,000 users, in the case we have consumers, B2C, G2C kind of environment, it's just half a cent per user. So it's very competitive pricing. And if it's for all Oracle workloads, which also includes OCI, for the first 10,000 users, it's just $2. The next 20,000 is going to be 75 cents. And over 30,000 users, it will be 10 cents per user. So the first tier will always be at this fixed price. And higher the number of users, you would be paying less. So over 60,000 users, it will be even lesser. So for, as I said, consumer users, it's discounted. It's just 1.6 cents. So with premium, the prices slightly increase, but with premium, you will be able to govern Oracle and non-Oracle workloads. So to summarize, Access governance helps in providing governance and compliance. So whether you want to govern specific applications or all applications, it helps you prove to various kinds of compliance, and it provides a user experience where it's driven by identity intelligence, so that you can figure out who has access to what, and end users can govern the access themselves. You could automate the access various access controls through ABAC, PBAC, RBAC policies. So it can be leveraged with access control. Finally, there are various applications can be governed through the identity orchestration, and higher the number of applications governed, your organizations will be able to prove compliance in a better way. So this is a OCI native service which can solve governance across various platforms. So with that, I would want to pass it to Maria for additional information. So Maria, over to you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. We greatly appreciate you taking the time today to join us. And a special thank you to Kamal Narayan and Abhishek Juneja for your presentation and demo. Thank you so much. So if there's any final comments, Kamal and Abhishek, that you would like to cover.
Probably I'll just make one comment, Maria. Access governance can be evaluated as part of the free license. So you can just sign up for OCI and you will be able to try access governance. So we strongly encourage everyone to try access governance and provide feedback. So you would be able to see the benefits of it across your environments. And if you require more information, reach out to your account representative, your support team, and we'll be able to set those environments for you.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much. And we thank everyone for joining today. I'm going to let this conclusion poll run for 1 more minute, but we really appreciate you taking the time, and please look out for our upcoming webinars. We will have them weekly or almost weekly on Thursdays going forward in the new year as well. Feel free to drop from the webinar as you like, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you so much.